No one would have described the lunch as hostile, that was the thing about it. Hostility would have required effort. This was easier than that, familiar, practiced, almost lazy. The table was too small for the number of people, which meant someone always ended up on the edge. This time it was her. She balanced her plate on her knees. Listened more than she spoke, watched the way conversation curved around certain topics like a stream around rocks. Her brother sat at the head. Relaxed in the way people get when they believe they are among allies. His wife poured wine without asking who wanted some. The grandchildren took up space freely. Shoes kicked off, voices overlapping. She noticed, as she often did, that no one asked her how she'd been. It wasn't new. It had been happening in small ways for years. After their mother died, after the estate paperwork, after she became useful in ways that didn't require her presence. She had learned to read rooms not for warmth, but for accuracy. The comment came from her niece, 13 and precise, her tone casual enough to pass as a joke. "She's the outsider Grandma warned us about." The girl said, smiling into her glass, "Right." There was a beat, just one, then smirks. Someone chuckled. No one corrected her. The woman on the edge of the table didn't react immediately. She felt the words land settle. Connect themselves to things she already knew but hadn't named. What struck her wasn't the cruelty of it, it was the confidence. The certainty that this version of her had been agreed upon elsewhere. She looked at her brother. He didn't meet her eyes. Later, when the plates were cleared and coats were being found, someone said, "Kids say the funniest things." And that was that. The sentence did its job, smoothing the moment into something unremarkable. She left without hugging anyone. No one seemed to notice. At home, she didn't turn on the television. She didn't pour a drink. She sat at the small desk in the spare room, where she kept documents she had never meant to keep for this long. There were accounts there. Not secret ones, just old ones. Temporary arrangements that had become permanent through neglect. Credit cards issued when her brother's business faltered. A car lease signed in her name because hers was the steadier credit. The better option just for now. She had told herself it didn't matter. That family was family. That these things were logistical, not symbolic. But symbolism has a way of asserting itself. She thought of the word outsider. How it had been spoken as inheritance, not insult, passed down, normalized, taught. She didn't rush. She logged in. She read carefully, she confirmed balances, dates, authorizations. Each step was clean, reversible, reasonable. When she paused, it wasn't because she doubted the action. It was because she was finally allowing herself to name what maintaining access meant. It wasn't kindness. It was erasure. She shut down the cards. She placed a call to the leasing company, clarified ownership, requested immediate retrieval. She sent no messages. There was nothing to announce. When she finished, the room was quiet in a way that felt earned. The next morning, she noticed the driveway across the street before she finished her coffee. The space where her brother's car usually sat was empty, the oil stain beneath it suddenly visible. She didn't feel satisfaction, she felt confirmation. At 8 a.m., the knock came, not loud, not angry, careful. She waited a moment before answering. When she opened the door, her brother stood there alone. His jacket was on, his hair not quite settled. He looked older than he had the day before. "Morning," she said. "We need to talk," he replied, already too close to pleading. They stood in the doorway, the threshold doing its quiet work. He glanced past her, as if expecting to see chaos, or maybe evidence of malice. There was none. "The cards," he said. "And the car." "I know," she said. There was a pause. He shifted his weight. "Why would you do this?" he asked, and the question was revealing in what it didn't include. No acknowledgement of the lunch. No mention of the words that had landed like a verdict. She considered correcting him. Decided against it. "I didn't do anything," she said. "I stopped doing something." He frowned. "You didn't have to." "I did," she said, not unkindly. "I just didn't realize it until yesterday." He opened his mouth, closed it. The fear was there now. Thinly veiled. Not fear of her, but of exposure, of instability. Of the sudden understanding that what he'd assumed was permanent was, in fact, conditional. "Is this about what my daughter said?" he asked finally. She met his eyes then. "Had them, it's about what no one said," she replied. They stood there. The morning stretching around them. Somewhere down the block a car started. A dog barked. "I don't want things to be like this," he said. "They already were," she said. "You just didn't notice." He left without raising his voice. Without slamming the door, he looked back once. As if searching for a way to return to the version of events where she remained useful and silent. She closed the door gently. Later, she would think about whether this meant the family was over, or simply clarified. Whether she had crossed a line or finally drawn one. The answers didn't come cleanly. What she knew, as the day settled into itself, was that she felt lighter, not because she had won, but because she was no longer pretending she belonged somewhere that required her to disappear. Some losses don't announce themselves as losses. Some arrive as quiet, necessary